gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order. It's 6 o'clock on September 7th, 2021. We have Mike Fitzpatrick via telephone, Shelly Huber, and Golob, myself, Angela Sanborn, our administrative assistant, Juanetta Powling, road foreman, Jay Wilson, and Austin Rice from BCTV, Ken Esty from the Planning Commission, and other guests that we will hear from shortly. So with that, I'd like to thank you for attending the meeting. Your participation is valuable to our community. Members of the public will be afforded reasonable opportunity to express opinions about matters considered by the body, so long as order is maintained according to the rule of procedures made available. Please refer to the Newfane Selectboard Rules of Procedures approved each year by the board for the conduct procedures of your public participating in this meeting. Should you have any questions or concerns, please let us know. Excuse me. Are there any additions or amendments to the agenda? Hearing none, we'll move on, and we're going to jump into an executive session for the negotiating or securing of real estate purchase or lease options. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to go into executive session.
And Mike second. And if it's okay, I'd like to invite Juanetta and Jay to stay in part for this.
So accepted,
Great.
so included.
Thank you.
You'll
So,
send someone out for us?
yep, we'll be out to get you shortly. All right, thank you, everybody. We've left executive session, and the resolution is that the select board is going to sign a letter of intent. So, moving on, we have the approval of the August 16th, 2021 regular meeting minutes. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve.
Or second it.
Thank you. Any discussion? I would just like to thank Katie for doing a great job note-taking to help us out as Juanetta was out that evening. So thank you, Katie.
Oh, thank you.
All those in favor who approve the meeting minutes, say aye.
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 Excellent. Thank you, everyone. And now we have Jay and the road foreman and road commissioners report.
Thank you. So River Road Bridge had a little emergency work done last week to prevent further damage after an additional slide on Thursday night exposed more of the bridge abutment. So I was able to get Mike on Friday to go in there and patch it up. I got Mark Pickering to meet me there at 6:30 that morning and said we had to do something to stop it from getting worse. So we did get it patched up. It still has to go out to bid to do the final work on the riprap needs to be replaced on the bridge that washed away during the flood. But we did get it to stop sliding, so we're not in danger of having a hole open up.
Great. That's wonderful that you got it done so quickly.
The whole thing on that job, though, Jay, it's gonna be quite a major project to fix, too, isn't it?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because we gotta do, I mean, the bridge abutment, anyway, it was built years ago. Why that road's been screwing up at the end of the bridge. You can't get compaction because the dirt's been silting out into the river.
Oh,
So
undermining.
there's nothing to hold the gravel back. So it's gonna take like a wall or something poured in behind that bridge to ever fix it right.
One of the V-Trans people suggested possibility of an approach apron, and I don't know much about that, so we're gonna have the bridge guy just see what his thoughts are, and I've also talked with Daniels Construction to see if they had any thoughts on it since they did the last work on it. So we have bids to open for the repair of the bank slide on Dover Road. I believe we have one bid.
Do we want to do that right now while you're talking about it?
Sure, let's do that.
So we have one bid from A.S. Clark for the Dover Road.
And are we fully responsible for the payment of this, or are we sharing the?
There's a good chance we won't be, because the federal highway, there wasn't enough damage on the federal aid highway to start an incident. They've asked them to include damage on federal aid highways into FEMA. So once that whole FEMA thing happens, we'll see where we stand then, but there's a good chance that they'll be covering part of that at least.
Okay, great. Town of Newfane, Dover Road, bid amounts, estimated project total cost $107,120 from A.S. Clark. And the entire project must be completed by September 30th, 2021. Is there any motion?
I have a question. Where is that,
It's right by the old fire station, right? The one in Williamsville where the cement block
Yes.
is?
It actually ended up being 2 slides, and after having the pre-bid meeting over there, and speaking with the river engineer, they've decided to turn it into one. Because of the size of each of them, there really wasn't a good place to get down there to work, so they're gonna create one solid wall, and they're gonna build that up. So it'll probably be 100 and, I'm guessing 100 and some feet wide down to 15 feet above the river maybe. And that will stop both those slides from getting worse.
Wow.
so you're talking right in Williamsville, just, you know, for everyone to
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah, we have a 1-lane road right now.
And is that also something to do with the old mill?
The old mill was towards the bridge, but there was a dry laid stone wall that was the retaining wall there. And it's been good for a couple hundred years, but it
Yeah.
finally gave out.
Okay.
So is there a motion to approve the A.S. Clark and Sons bid for the Dover Road project?
I make a motion to approve it.
Second?
I second it.
Any further discussion?
Do we have the funds currently in our budget for it or in our bank account?
It'll be under emergency stuff, so, Melissa, we've got 4 more to put out to bids. You may have to borrow some money until they start reimbursing us.
I see. So you think that's a fair price, Jay?
Yeah, it's quite a project. It's, we sent it out to, I believe, 6 contractors, and it was in the paper, and we only got 2 people to come to the bid meeting. And I was just happy to get somebody to bid on it. And plus, a lot of the contractors are very busy.
Yeah. So they have a plan, I guess, right?
Yes,
Okay.
Well, who drew up the design? Is it
Yeah.
our engineer who drew
Who
it up?
engineered it?
the state river engineer,
Mhm.
between he and V-Trans, they told them what we're looking for. It's a cul-de-sac toe design. The state has them all previously designed, and you just implement that. And so basically, you key in large 5-foot plus rock at the bottom, and you build a wall on top of that, stepping it back as you go up, and you cover the whole thing with grubbing material and seed it. And then you also, as you go up, they call it chinking material. It's just smaller gravel and rock gets packed in behind it as it goes up.
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
You should drive by and look at it sometime. It's like
I don't want to step over
really
there.
terrifying.
All right, is there any further discussion? Yes.
Actually, I do have a question, so I'm glad that you're addressing this. I have to identify myself.
Yeah.
Gerald Julian from Williamsville, South Newfane. And I drive by there, sorry, I was glad to hear, because I would have asked about this, so I'm glad to hear that it's being addressed. And how soon would that work start? And I guess because a large chunk of one side of the road is gone, what's the integrity of the
Yes.
remaining part there? We have the barriers, so traffic can't go there, but if there's another bad washout and storm, what's the integrity of the rest of the road?
That's why there was some urgency getting it out to bid and
Yeah.
award, before we get more rain. If we do get a real heavy rain and it starts washing across the road again,
Yeah.
we'll have to put a berm up so that it can't run down over there.
Yeah, because school buses, I mean, everything, traffic going up over to Dover, heavy traffic's going over that.
Yeah, so in the bid, it says to be completed by the end of September.
Oh, great, I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, any further
The thing
discussion
that
on
won't
that?
be completed is the pavement until it's had a chance to compact a little bit.
Yeah.
That'll be done this fall also.
Great, well, thank you for addressing it.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Great. Continue
So
on, Jay, thank you.
I'm writing up the bids for the other flood repairs, and that would be River Road Bridge, riprap work, River Road bank slide, road repair, and the South Wardsboro Road bank slide. So those are four that are, ones that we'll be having to put out to bid. Hopefully in the next week or so they can get put out. I'm still waiting for the river engineer to get caught up enough to look at the, a couple, actually three of them. He's got to come back and help me to write up the scope of work for him. And he's just been so spread so thin with all the towns that had damage that it's been a little, I think this is the first time the damage has been over so many towns. Usually it's been, 2 or 3 towns or whatever, so they've been quite accessible to us. This time it's taking longer to get people to respond to you.
Jay, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Regarding embankment slides, bank slides. There's a property over on Back Street, and it's where the stream comes along. The embankment is being eroded, and during the storm, it was eroded quite a lot, and there was a tree that came down to a private property, and the question is, what could be done? If there's any FEMA, the owner is calling the 211 to
Yeah.
report it.
It's hard to tell. Sometimes they'll help pay for things like that. Sometimes they won't. It depends on somebody will at least usually come take a look.
Okay.
And there's also those town sponsored things like you were looking into for one of the other ones. They're I think they pay a percentage of the repair, and the homeowner still has to come up with some of it themselves. So it's a crapshoot as to what you're going to get for help. But yes, definitely try to follow up on any of those things. And they've been around looking at some, and I don't know if Juanetta knows which agency it was that was out looking at them. Did you ever find out, Juanetta?
Yeah, it's in my report.
Okay.
So the 211 is still report all your damage.
Yes.
So they have an assessment number, they can follow up with it and add it to the total cost.
Yeah.
Yeah, for funding options.
So we're finishing up roadside mowing probably tomorrow, and the rest of the repairs have been going well with damage on, I did it in my head here, but I think it was 34 roads we have damage on.
Wow.
So,
What about that road going up off of Route 30? Just past.
Yep, that's a private drive.
Hemlock Hill Road is private.
That's a private. Okay.
Well, thank you so much for all of your hard work and all the guys too.
Sure.
We
Yes.
really appreciate everything you guys do.
Very true.
Is there a motion to approve the road foreman and commissioners report?
I make a motion to approve.
Second?
I second.
Thank you, Jay. You're doing a great job.
Any further discussion?
Thanks.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And now to Juanetta and the administrative assistance report.
Do you want me to contact AS Clerk, or do you want Jay to contact to award the bid?
How do you normally do it?
It's
I
left up
would
to the
have
board.
you do it and make sure that they have their insurance and everything in line.
Thank you.
Yeah. My
Thank you,
suggestion.
Yeah, just call in tomorrow.
Yep.
Great.
Okay. Kendall Farm School has requested that Newfane complete a municipal impact questionnaire for the Act 250 building permit to create a new classroom in the main building of the campus. They are going to be removing one of the yurts that's there. So,
So I'll stop you there. So this is what we started last week and we needed more clarification.
correct.
So this is the property that's closest to Townsend, right?
Correct.
Okay,
It borders Townsend, but part of the map does line up with Newfane. So
alright.
they just need us to complete this application.
So is the house sitting in Townsend or Newfane?
The line goes through the building.
Oh, goes through the building.
It does. That's
Oh,
why,
from
that's
the
why they're
back?
asking us to help.
So front to back or something?
If you're looking at Route 30, it's at an angle. Townsend has the smaller portion.
Do you
Oh.
have the one that we started filling out?
I couldn't find it. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
So do we wanna do this now or wait till after the reports and
Let's
such?
do it,
And do
yeah.
it during pay orders?
Yeah.
Doing pay
Yeah.
orders.
Okay. Thank
Rescue Incorporated has invited 2 representatives of Newfane to an informational meeting Thursday, September 16th at 6:30. The discussion will cover the emergency medical coverage and our town and contract terms and rates. They are requesting the name and title of the persons who will attend the meeting as Newfane's representatives.
So should we make a decision now who we, okay? So I recommend Jay. He's like smiling. As you're fully capable, you're a town employee, a representative. And I don't know, anyone else? Jay, would you accept the,
What was the date?
it
September
is,
16th at 6:30.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
would you recommend anybody else, somebody from the board?
Yeah, maybe if you could have one board member too, that would be good, and then we could both explain it.
September 16th, we might be at that meeting together. I'll look at my calendar.
Okay,
I may be able to attend too, I'm not sure yet, but I'll let you know.
Okay.
Okay. Road foreman Jay was informed that FEMA was not able to help with the private damage. Alyssa Sabato at Wyndham Regional Commission in Brattleboro suggested contacting Jason Goslin from the Emergency Management Director, Vermont Agency of Human Services, to help homeowners with flooding damage. We have directed everyone to contact 211 to report and register their damage. I should hear something positive, I hope, tomorrow. I prefer to avoid frustrated residents demanding to know who, what, where, and when help is coming. So I will have more information after I talk to Jason tomorrow about how they're going to handle the private damages, because it has to be a 25% of the value of their property.
Can you
Oh.
let us know as the board what you find out as well?
Yes.
Thank you.
Alyssa Shader, a program manager from Vermont Department of Forest and Park Recreation, sent an email notification that the emerald ash borer, the EAB, was recently confirmed in Wilmington. Newfane is within a 10-mile infested area of confirmed detection. Planning Resources encourage all Vermont towns to prepare and manage the impact of EAB and the loss of ash trees in our communities. Dead and dying ash trees along public right-of-way and in public places such as parks, schools, pose a risk to public safety. Municipalities will bear the responsibility and costs of removing and/or treating public ash trees that may be at risk to public safety, as well as any replanting efforts. We were notified early last summer that this was going to be a danger, and there are links to websites posted on our website now on how we can get more information. And then we do have a survey from Vermont Department of Cannabis Control Board. It is an impact on municipalities, and it needs to be completed before the 18th of September. And it questions whether or not we want to put it out on our town meeting as an article.
Well, we had a discussion back on previous select boards, that this was coming to the town, and that the town would then be the authorized entity to approve whether or not cannabis retail stores would be here, growing cannabis, all that kind of stuff. So it's something that I think we have to think about.
I know when it was in the Vermont legislature, they hadn't finalized how they were going to handle it, whether it's gonna be handled like the Board of Liquor Control, where the town has to handle the licensing, or if it's going to be through the state. So that's why I think they're sending out a survey to see how it affects the town and the resources we have to handle.
Okay.
And when did you say it has to be done by?
We have to complete the survey by September 18th and consider whether we want to put it on an article on our town meeting, whether or not we offer selling it in Newfane.
So, I mean, my other question would be, you know, with Ken Esty, the planning chair, if this has been anything that's been discussed.
Ken Esty, since you're here, can you
Yes.
answer that question for us?
Not directly. No.
Okay.
There's an organization, help me on this, I'm sorry, I don't recall, West River Valley Drives? Excuse me?
Thrives.
Yeah, I got it. Okay.
Right.
In which a presentation was made
Yes,
relating to, yeah,
that was last year.
you might have been there. No, maybe not. No, not last year. But yeah.
Not last year, the year before, there was a presentation by the gentleman from the.
Right, and that gentleman's successor also came to a planning commission meeting
Okay.
and discussed these issues. But not that, Shelley, not the particular thing that we're talking about now, but the general concern.
Yeah.
So we're aware, but we may need to take it up.
Mm. So how does the board want to approach this?
I kind of want to, again, Ken, are you having community meetings regarding plans here for the town?
We are not having in-person community meetings.
Okay. I like to see this put to the town. I know it's municipal questionnaire, but if there's something that we can extrapolate from there, like some questions, just to get a feeling from the town, how they feel about it, and be able to, you know, either put it up on front porch or, you know, on their website, and, you know, to try to get a feeling from people what their thoughts are, versus us just making a determination.
Well, it looks like this questionnaire is simply trying to understand
How we work?
how we work, how we're structured, whether or not we're planning to put on the ballot. It's not asking us, it's sort of like what our status of these discussions are right now, is what I'm seeing in this.
Even if it was one or two questions, whether or not people would want this in the town or don't want it.
That doesn't seem to be in this questionnaire.
Okay, well, okay.
But I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's an important question.
Yeah, I
agree.
think we need to get a pulse of what the feeling is.
That could probably be one of the questions that's in what you guys are doing.
Right.
I would recommend keeping them separate.
Oh,
because
keeping them separate.
I think it really, trying to figure
Yeah.
out planning and then putting cannabis in there. I think
Yeah.
the discussions would get.
Yeah, this is just
pretty
a separate
murky.
issue.
I would
Yeah.
treat it separately. I think we could go ahead and complete this
So would you like
survey.
me to fill the survey out, or
Yes.
is there a volunteer to do? I don't mind.
If you do, I think it'd be great.
Yeah.
And then I think we should make a note to talk about at another meeting, how to find out what people think about the whole cannabis question, or maybe make it a topic and ask people to either send emails or come in and talk to us and
Yeah,
begin to get a feel of what
because
people's
we really need
preferences
to know
would be.
before we
That
put too
sounds
much
great.
energy behind it.
So we can fill this out and then put it on the agenda a little bit later, closer towards town meeting day.
Or a little before, maybe in October, in a month or so.
Yeah, that sounds great. All right, is there anything further wanted on your report?
No, ma'am.
All those, may I have a motion to accept the administrative assistant's report?
And make such a motion.
Second,
Second it?
any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you, Juanetta, for all your hard work. That was great. All right, moving on to committee reports. Are there any?
Oh. I do have a question.
Yes.
Any update on the contract with the sheriffs with the dog?
I have had contact with Ashley. She's been handling a couple of incidents, recently over on Wiswall Hill. And the contract she is fabulous. She's on top of her game, I'm telling you.
Do you think we could invite her in
Yeah.
for a report?
Sure, I could ask her.
Or if she could present us with a report that we could read, that would be fantastic.
Okay, and the other point is that we have a contract now with the sheriffs for road, checking and
Speed control,
speed control.
traffic, law enforcement.
So are we getting any feedback from that?
I have not seen any reports. I know when the billing comes in, it goes directly to the treasurer. I can certainly,
I would ask for a monthly report if that's not a requirement in the contract. We used to get that from the troopers.
well, I can get it from
Melissa?
Melissa
Yes.
Okay.
And if you can
and
make a
include
copy.
it like the treasurer's report to the select board. You wanna know how many traffic stops?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes. Oh, definitely. Because again, it's the rumor in town is, there's normal, not more normal, but I mean residents, not just outsiders, out-of-staters, and that kept coming up in our discussions that we're all capable of speeding,
Yep.
and we should slow down, no matter where you're at, because anything can jump out. I just had a moose up in Grafton come out, bears crossing, turkeys crossing. So just a reminder, slow down.
Yes, thank you so much. All right, committee reports? Are there any? Do you have a report to update us on?
Sure. So the Planning Commission, it continues to work on the outreach letter, and we've reached a threshold now where we have the 4 categories and the subcategories such that we are now poised to put that letter together. And I don't know if Lynn communicated this to you, Ann, but within 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, the letter goes out to the whole town, at which point we will have Zoom meetings. We'll, in various modes of communication, front porch forum, all the different methods we can think of to ask for these surveys to be sent back to us. And then once we'll decide, I think probably about a month is about what, I think 3 to 4 weeks is probably about as long as we can stretch this out.
Right.
Get all the results, total those results, and then report back to you what we have. At which point, you'll decide what you want to do with the information we give to you.
Excellent, thank you so much.
So, but of course, we will, we won't disappear. It's just that, but we do have to turn it over to you, and then you decide how you want to manage it. But
So it's all going to go just by survey.
it's going to be a survey. It's going to be 4 categories with bullet points under each of the categories, which we've, believe me, laboriously and diligently
Great.
and unrelentingly have discussed.
Yes.
Which means that when you ask us what these categories mean, we will be able to tell you to a person on the Planning Commission what these categories mean and the subcategories, because we've extensively discussed them. So I'm happy to report that. and I think by, by October, early October, mid-October, we'll have what you're looking for.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
So do you
for-
also have the other category or other, ideas?
No, we chose not to do that.
Okay.
If you want to know why, I can explain it, but we basically, from a survey development perspective, we basically decided that when you go to other,
Mm-hmm.
it detracts from the 4 that we already have
So
established.
you're focusing on 4 categories.
And we didn't want to have one that's, other, to take away from those 4. And again, you're the select board, we turn over the results and then but again, we won't disappear. We'll be there to work with you. But yeah, it's 4 categories.
Okay, thank you so much for your work.
Ken, I just want to say, I know that this project expanded beyond and beyond and beyond, and that it took up a phenomenal amount of time for you and your committee, and I just want to
Yes.
say thank you. I really think this is valuable, and I appreciate the incredible hard work you all put into this.
Yeah, and just to say that I appreciate your acknowledgement, because it wasn't just over the series of regular meetings. I have to go back and count all the special meetings that we had in order to just, again, workshop every single point. So,
Thank you so much for all your hard work. I look forward to seeing the results of the survey and going forward.
Yeah, you might
with that.
want to tally up and tell people how many hours of time,
well,
so they understand.
in meetings and outside of meetings, as we're individually working. Yeah.
Yes.
You guys are amazing.
As someone once said to me on a volunteer job, I'm going to double your salary.
So now we're going to move on to scheduled members of the public and welcoming Kate Gehring and Jeryl Cisse and with the partner for the WRVMA, West River Valley Mutual Aid partnership with Leland and Gray Union High School engaged students in local government, and they have a special speaker, Rory.
Yes.
Welcome.
So,
Jump on in.
well, first we'll introduce Kate.
Hi, Kate.
Hi, everyone. It's really nice to see you. Thanks for having us.
So glad you're with us.
And I'll
Sorry.
just introduce myself. I'm Jeryl Cisse, just newly retired teacher from Leland and Gray.
Congratulations.
And then Rory O'Donnell, who is a current teacher of civics class at
Yes.
Leland and Gray.
Yes.
Glad you're all with us. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I'll start. Jeryl, Rory, hop in. Anybody else if you have questions as we go. So Jeryl and I are members of a working group in the mutual aid that we have kind of called Town Governance, but is really more community engagement focused, I would say. And we have this wonderful collaborator in Rory O'Donnell, who's teaching civics, and on a project that is focused on supporting education about and engagement in local government. We wanted to tell you about it and invite your participation. We hope some or all of you will be interested in joining. The idea of the project is to teach students a bit about local government and to invite them in. And although after talking to some folks in the social studies department at LNG, we have heard initially that it would be useful to have some support in helping that all happen. Jeryl has a lot of experience at LNG and in making really great opportunities happen for students, and Rory is the person on the ground making it all happen with what sounds like an exciting new civics curriculum. Jeryl and Rory, just chime in if you
Do you want to speak to that
Sure.
since you're the teacher?
I'd be happy to. Hello, my name is Rory O'Donnell, and I teach civics at Leland and Gray. And I was excited to hear from our colleagues here that they wanted to open a collaboration for our students to work closely with local government here in Townsend, but also the many surrounding towns that we house at Leland and Gray. And so our goal for this new partnership is to bring students into the political process and hopefully bring the political process to the students to help them understand the importance of local government and how much it really impacts their lives. And so what we are asking from you is your support, but also your ideas on how we can engage these students with matters that matter to them. And so we can open their eyes from a young age and jumpstart their political careers, I guess, as citizens, to help them understand and be a part of the change that we're making in our community. So if you guys have any ideas or propositions for things that our students can work on or give you feedback on, or, I mean, the sky's the limit, and we hope to continue this program and grow it every semester, every year, so that our students are the best civically engaged students in Southern Vermont and the United States. So we look forward to your participation in that. So I want to thank my colleagues for inviting me here today. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Great.
Questions?
Well,
Should I jump in with a little bit of the format that we had discussed? Would you like to hop in with questions first?
Yes, that'd be
Why don't
great.
you give more information?
Sure. So, and it's a little hard on Zoom, but I'm gonna ask Rory and Jeryl to jump in if they want to add something. But we've talked at some length amongst ourselves about a format that might work and be a great way to introduce students. And Rory emphasized that it would be great to start by going into the classroom, and if all of you would be willing to talk with Rory and with us a little bit.
We're losing you, Kate.
Same distance I was from my router 5 minutes ago. Can you hear me?
Now we can.
Oh no, hold on 1 second. Perfect timing. Is that any better?
Yes.
Okay, I mean, I didn't change anything, but maybe it just faltered. So we talked about, having members of the select board come and talk to students kind of in the classroom about what you all do, what the select board does, and possibly framing like 1 or 2 issues that would really engage them. I don't know if it will work with Rory's schedule or your schedule, but the topic of ARPA funding comes up a lot, sort of being able to ask kids, you know, how would you help your community recover from COVID, or what needs help now? But I think pretty much any topic would be really interesting if we frame it the right way. So we would love it if you would be willing to come to the high school and talk to students, and then follow that with an invitation to a select board meeting, and a meeting at which they could be steered, talked to, made to be felt, helped to be made to feel welcome, engaged, and hear their voices. It occurs to us that it will be great for them, but it might also be great for the select board, and we hope to do this at the planning commission as well, to hear what students have to say. We thought could be really interesting and constructive as well. I can't see Jeryl and Rory from here, but I'll just add if they want to hop in, and then I can talk a little about the schedule we discussed, or they can. But Jeryl, Rory, would you like to add or change or correct?
No, you've done a great job of explaining it. And so it's not just the select board, but we're looking to do in any area of civic participation, whether it's with the planning commission, with the ARPA committee, with voting. I've been involved in my years at the school there with getting students registered and doing a whole oath in front of everybody in an assembly and trying to get them more engaged in participating when we haven't had much success, and especially with COVID, getting them to come and help with the voting on any of the elections, whether it's for national election or for town meeting or any of our votes. So just introducing students to what it's like to have some local control. And then hopefully this could be the inspiration, the seedling for perhaps higher offices, participate on a board. Our school does have student representatives on the school board. So that's, that's something to look at, how would we get students, young people engaged in any of the boards? And non-voting members, something of that nature. So that's what our goal is. And civics has not been taught at the high school for a few years, so it's just being brought back around, and Rory's going to lead the effort, and we're happy. Kate and I work with Rory and with you with scheduling visits. Rory's hoping to make it part of his curriculum that students come and participate and come back and report out to the rest of the class.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, yeah.
Are the students available to do any sort of projects around this? I don't know what kind of time commitment the students might have, and I'll explain what I'm thinking about. I used to live on Long Island, and that's still where I do all my work. And there was a huge downtown redevelopment project in the town of Greenport. And the mayor, who's a friend of mine, went to the elementary school just, to blah, 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 talk about being mayor, and the kids are falling asleep. And so then he asked them what they wanted for the downtown redevelopment. And the conversation that was sparked was unbelievable. And they then, that helped to bring in all the parents who were interested in what their kids were saying. And then it led to a couple of projects being built in the downtown that were specifically related to what had come up in these meetings with the kids. And I think that is such an incredible sense of empowerment for the kids, and a sense of, this is how it works and that your voice does count. I would love it, especially as we're having these discussions around our town plans and what we might want to do with this money, and even beyond the ARPA money, because the town is always having to think about its development. It would be fabulous to have a vehicle to hear from the students, either, and I'm just shooting stuff out there, it may absolutely not make sense, I'm not a teacher, but if there's a way to, we're doing a poll of the town members, if there's some way to do the same for the students, regardless of whether they live in Newfane or not. I know it's a couple of towns that feed into Townsend. I don't think that matters in this case, but it would just be a wonderful way to hear, what students would want from their town, and what would make it more vibrant for them as they're growing up, what they would look for, what they've experienced in other places that they might wish we had here, or something like that. And if there was some way to hear from even beyond just that one individual class, for the students then, in some way, if this is appropriate, to then poll the other, I'm not sure what grades, but whatever, other students, to get more, to make more of a discussion with the students, and almost to have them acting as like a mini commission up there, trying to just gather the information. I personally would be fascinated to hear what they came up with.
I agree. I think that would be wonderful.
So, Madam Chair, so I have a question. First of all, is your comment, Rory, change to our community. I don't know what you're referring to as a change to our community, the coming change to our community. So I'm just wondering what you meant by that.
Right. Well, as I try and employ my students, is that our communities are constantly changing, whether we control it or not, and so to make sure that their voice is heard on some of those changes. Some of the things we've discussed tonight, such as cannabis, is something that is going to impact them. Is that something that they want to see in this community? Is it not something they want to see in this community? So that would be one change that may be coming down the road. But there's a lot of changes that will be coming to our town and to our community. And the last 2 years has certainly thrown a lot of change on us. Whether we've been forced to swallow it. So to be able to impact on those students that these towns can change, and that it's not, the government isn't static and the communities are not static, that they're ever changing, and that they can have a voice in that change is something that I'm going to try and show them, right, and with your help.
So, and then the other question I have is for Kate, I guess, is that why would the West River Valley Mutual Aid be a lead in this or a partner in this?
That is a good question, Shelly. Thanks. So it is, it sort of evolved from interest of several of us. I would say I can speak for myself, and I know Jeryl has been very active in creating opportunities for students to get engaged and to learn about civics. It's a particular interest of my own, and we further.
We're losing you again.
It's so strange. Better now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe I just have to sit closer. We've worked together on community produce stands, and we are neighbors in Williamsville. And we have in our network a bunch of retired teachers and folks who are involved at the school. So it's made sense for us to work together and to involve folks. I have a personal interest and real enthusiasm for getting folks engaged, for finding ways to hear voices that may not always be heard in our community, and in particular in working with kids to do that. I love what Anne was saying about finding a way to really listen to and hear what students are saying, even in the course of discussions in like planning commission events. I've learned a lot from folks talking about the perspective of students and school. One way that we came to be involved is that I was discussing, I was curious about the civics program at LNG last year, and discussed with some of the social studies department, and they said that they are enthusiastic about opportunities for their students. This was before I had met Rory, but colleagues of Rory's and also great teachers, but Rory's our amazing partner this year. They had said that the one thing that is really hard is they'll get a notice like, oh, there's this cool thing happening at the State House, but great, they have a few other things on their plate, and they really could use help in bridging, making those opportunities happen. And so I don't think there's a reason other than interest and eagerness to work together. I don't know if there's some other question about the board, and I know that Jeryl can talk a lot about her experience teaching, engaging students. Thrilled to be working with Rory here. But that's the way that I've come into working on this project, and I'm really.
Well, just to remind people, and this is on your site, is that the West River Valley Mutual Aid is, the mission statement is, we are neighbors helping neighbors. We're working together to find ways to live well together, to support each other, and to support our community's well-being. Everyone is welcome to join. And, when I thought about the mutual aid, I thought about, emergency, in crisis, during the flood, during, the storms and, et cetera, getting the food out. You guys have done a great job, and everyone eats, and distributing that. I just don't understand, I guess, where the political aspect of the civics, with a local school district, how that works into helping out people in need. And I would refer then back to Rory also, that this is a situation where you're the teacher, you've been, fully vetted. If the kids were to come here, how would they come to the select board? Would you bring them here? Would they come by parents? Would they come on their own? When you're connecting an organization that is not a nonprofit, it's not registered in the state of Vermont, it's just a loosely formed group, and then you're associating yourself with that. I just wonder about the connections, how that would work. I'm certainly totally into having the kids come here, we go there, and definitely with the civics. program of the studies at Leland and Gray, because I'm concerned. As a select board member, as a resident, last year during graduation, there was a statement made on the website. You probably weren't employed at that point. And it said that from one of the teachers that we're so happy that we've been able to teach our kids to protest. And I was really offended by that. That's not my intention or thought would be an intended purpose of educating our students at Leland and Gray to protest. I'm very concerned about it. I'm concerned about the political aspect of the students being given the broad stroke of what politics is about, the party affiliations, no leanings, no indoctrinations. I'm very concerned about that. And I just don't understand where the mutual aid has taken on this task when it's really your task to bring the students to us or us to them, because you've been tasked, you've been employed by our school system.
Kate?
So, may I jump in?
Yes.
I think there are a couple of points to address. I don't think so I will say that my perspective as a concerned and enthusiastic citizen is that helping students feel seen and heard in their town is absolutely an issue of community well-being, and I think it really benefits the select board to hear from students, and if I can help that happen, I'm proud to do it. You know, I'm not a select board member, and I don't plan to go to a classroom and tell students that I am or what they do, but I would love to invite your engagement and help facilitate that in happening. You know, I don't think I can't speak for Rory and his curriculum, but I can speak for our involvement, which is, it is what it is on this project, and that is helping introduce you all to the students. You tell them what you do. I don't. I would hope I can speak to them. But
Well, I'd like to hear from Rory, because I think
Well,
Rory is the lead.
Let's let Kate finish, and then we'll move on
We
to
lost
other
you
And I
back
people.
there.
Oh, I thought you had.
and I
No, I
hope
think
you
you
will
lost
invite
it.
them to your meetings. My job has been primarily to say, hey, I think there's something I can help bring some people together and create a great opportunity for this town. And I hope you'll take advantage of it. I cannot speak about, I have no idea about the LNG website, but I would invite you to participate, all of you, and to come and hear what students have to say and tell them about what you do. I think it would be wonderful, and I think the more people feel heard and seen and part of things, the more they'll continue to engage.
Thank you, Kate. Juanetta, you had something to say real quick?
I was just gonna say, bringing this vehicle to the town and inviting them to be part of local government. When I was in school 39 years ago, we actually created our own legislature system in the gym, where we had articles and we had procedures on how government actually worked, and that was exciting.
Yeah.
It involved the whole high school. And there are things concerning younger children that worry them. Global warming, pollution, recycling. These have actually come more into my generation's focus because they're learning it in school. Recycling, you need to recycle those cans and bottles, and it becomes more awareness of how the education process works. And I mean, it's not just the global warming, it's the cannabis issue, it's, you know, public transportation. It's all of these things that are concerning the younger generation. Electric cars are going to be the new.
Right.
I think it's wonderful that they're willing to open up and be participants in their own local government. And I encourage that kind of participation because it's important. They're going to be our future leaders, and we need to encourage their development any way we can.
Thank you, Juanetta. Rory, did you want to respond?
Sure. I'm not sure what the question was, but
Well, basically the question is that why wouldn't you be the lead person? I'm not sure why the West River Valley Mutual Aid had to be or is involved with this. I'm not against it. I totally think it's a wonderful idea. And I guess I would like to know, what is the plan that you have?
Correct.
Because I see you as the connection to Leland and Gray, because you're the teacher and you've been employed to teach our kids locally about civics. And whenever you do that, you have to be impartial. Okay? So I just want that to be kind of aware and stated up front. And, the concern about some statements that I've heard. I just want to be sure that if we're engaging, that we're engaging with the school directly and that we know that we have been covered. There's no question about anybody that should be involved that is not to be involved. Engaging with the students outside of the school system, on a trip, all those kind of things.
I understand. So to respond to your very valid concern of having outside groups influence our civics class, my civics class, which I would never let anyone come in that I did not fully vet one, but also and tell the students about what where their spin might be. But it's important to hear all sides,
Spin,
of course,
yeah.
right? Whatever you want to call it, and that's a big part of civics. It's an important part of civics. Might almost be the most important part of civics. And so, to be fair, the where this mutual aid group comes in, I'm not really there because this was two people brought this to me, and so they're the catalyst that drove me here today.
Yeah.
And so obviously we could communicate directly with the board. We would not have to go through some organization because I agree that seems a silly middleman. Why do we need that? We can have an open dialogue right here together. And so I appreciate the concern of having outside groups influence what we teach in civics, what our kids are learning, and all of those things are valid. And so I appreciate the concern there, but I can assure you that our students, we stick to the Vermont State Standard curriculum, and we're determined to just make them better citizens and to participate in democracy in any way that they see fit. And so that's our goal here. And I mean, I'm telling you, I wish I was telling you we were making a bunch of fanatics that were really excited about civics, but the excitement is not there.
Well, maybe we can.
That's the goal. That's why we're here. So if students can graduate the class being excited about local government, or just knowing anything about it, understanding how much it impacts their lives way more than the stuff on CNN does, that's a huge win for us, and it's a huge win for our students, and a huge win for our community, and that's why I'm here today.
I'd be interested to hear what the children have to say.
And I like to see what the curriculum is.
Sure. Well, it's public, but sure.
Yeah. But I mean, the whatever version it is.
Gerald?
Final version.
Right, and so I guess what, just maybe expanding what the mutual aid does. Yes, we do try to help in emergency situations where someone has a need. It could be just individuals needing their roof shoveled or a ride to the doctors or pick up something at the pharmacy. So those are meeting community needs. But as you read and as Kate said, looking at community well-being, and our community is healthier when our students, everyone is engaged, young and old. And we know that there's apathy, young and old. So it's just another opportunity for the mutual aid to expand what we do. Kate and I are both members, and just because as a newly retired teacher, I know how busy the teachers are, and they don't have the time to really do the orchestration of stuff. So he'll be teaching the class, but I probably will be one of the ones organizing dates and maybe transportation. You know, when someone might be able to come up to the school, have different ones come, or a couple people come at a time. So I'll do that kind of legwork. Last year, prior to the elections, I organized a candidates forum for the students. That candidates, we had over 30 candidates from governor on down to local candidates, representatives who participated, and I set up the whole schedule because these guys did not have the time to do it. And again, that was before mutual aid came up, but I was newly retired, I had the time, and again, I'm very invested in our students, our young people, because it's not the cliche anymore. They are our future. So, but I just thought, as far as expanding what mutual aid can do, this is another, you know, positive thing for the community to know about how the mutual aid can help the community.
Yep.
So,
Well, the other thing is that Kate mentioned, like, there was, you know, an event up at the Dome or up at the Capitol, and you know, that would be a way to rally the kids to go up to it. Well, my concern is that
I don't think that's what she meant. She's trying to clarify.
Okay.
Right away.
Well, let me finish what I'm saying.
Sorry.
But my concern is that it's going to be used as a specific political arm. Okay, you understand what I mean, right? It's not one or the other, it's all of it.
exactly.
And that people that are involved with it may have their own personal beliefs, but will that personal belief bleed over to being with those students? Will those people that are in any group, okay, you invite in, okay, it has to be that, you know, I would feel best knowing that there was no leanings, and that's my concern.
Kate?
I will clarify that. I have no idea what the event was. I had the impression I had a conversation with Joe Toll, who's another high school teacher, who said that he remembered being a student and being invited to, or no, I'm sorry, I'm confusing story. I'm confusing. It's just that, like, opportunities come up, you know, come and be a legislator for a day. I don't know if that was exactly it, but opportunities come up to bring students to learn. I have not had a political conversation with Joe, anybody from LNG. I don't see that as within the scope of helping folks come to learn about local government. But I will say the example he gave was just that, like, people would say, like, hey, you know, why don't you bring your students to the select board, or come to the legislature, you're welcome. But nobody acknowledged how much time it takes to, like, arrange things to help make it happen. And that's really hard. Teachers have incredibly demanding jobs. I mean, it is like full-time plus, at least every teacher I know. And I can't imagine you're any different, Rory, or you or Jeryl, or, you know, Ken, if he's still there. I imagine you put a huge amount of time into your teaching work. And so that just was a way that, like, you know, how could we help people get involved? And I was like, oh, that's
Help people get involved. I mean, but again, I've said it, it's public, and I will be concerned and watching.
Right, and I believe as teachers, we all know when we are in the classroom, we are not teaching our personal point of view. And just like at the candidates forum last year, I sent emails out to everyone that was on the voting list. Not the presidential candidates, but governor on down to our local representatives and whoever responded. So I had people from every single party, from Republican, Democratic, Communist, Progressive, Boiling Frogs Party. There were, you know, from every single group that you could imagine, a variety of people. And it was great for the kids to have access. And it was done during a flex period, Monday through Thursday, for about 4 weeks. And like I said, because they were so busy and I had that time, arranged all the schedules, the timing, everything, and with greater access than having, the night before, our Secretary of State, Jim Condos, was on national news. The very next morning, he was in our Zoom screen because he had been invited and accepted the invitation. So here we had kids being able to talk to someone who just the night before happened to be in national news. Whatever side of the story it is, it's just giving the students access. They will make their own decisions. We have to give them the information, unbiased,
Yeah.
and present it to them. And then they're gonna ask the questions. That's what we want. Them to be asking the questions, coming up with the ideas. What they hear out in the big social media world, in the news, what they hear around the kitchen table, what they hear, what are our needs? What do we want for our future?
It's very important to hear their point of view too.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Ken?
Yeah, I just say that I'm gonna be, if I have any involvement in this, if I get invited, Shelly, I'm gonna be really partial, you know what I'm gonna say? I'm really partial to democratic participation in its most full form, That's a form of partiality I think that we can all be into. It's like, yeah, I'm partial for democracy and democratic participation. That's what I'm into, So, I think that holding up that value of participation and maximal, knowledge to get involved is a fantastic value to get behind. And I think from what I'm hearing, that's exactly what everybody is saying tonight. So
I think it's very important, and I look forward to seeing much more on this. It is important to hear what our children have to say. And personally speaking, Jeryl, you've always been a fantastic teacher. And a mentor to the children. So,
Thank you.
but yeah, bring more. I'd love to hear more about it.
Yeah, it's
And
exciting.
see the schedule and your,
And I probably would be the person coordinating, because Rory's gonna be very busy in the classroom, but to find out what dates, what times. We already know when his schedule is, when the course is being taught.
be in
And
touch
then-
with Juanetta.
And that is the person to, okay.
Yep, and she
We got
can,
budget season coming up
Yes,
too.
we do.
Oh, that's
There's-
fun.
There's so much, between things like you were saying, transportation. One of the things that I felt.
but there's
like-
always Zoom too, so.
One of the things we definitely could have in this area for our students out here is a youth center.
Oh, gosh,
Oh,
that would be
definitely.
awesome.
So these are the kind of, how do we make that happen? Well, you guys gotta get involved. We wanna hear your voices. You don't want adults telling you what your youth center is gonna be like. You're gonna tell us what you want. So totally, impartial.
Well, FYI, I was part of a walkout from our school back in 1980 because they were pushing down, they were not going to pass the sports budget, the art budget, and other budgets. And we walked out and the parents heard from us that we were not happy and they passed the budgets. So, there's all of that involved,
Yeah.
but it's for all the right reasons, It's
But
not.
would you say that was a form of protest?
It was.
So,
My
so
mother said
healthy
if you step
protest.
if you step off of this school grounds, you're going to be grounded.
Yeah.
We went off the school grounds, so I understand it, but it wasn't a political. It was about a budget. It was about our education
Right.
and our curriculum. And our art program that was fantastic. So
And may I just say that one of the things that students do have the right of, they have free speech.
yeah,
It does
they
not
do.
stop at the classroom, the entrance to the
Or
school.
start at 18.
So, yes, exactly. So, so we do let students know, and in the past, there have been times when students wanted to express their opinions and protest, and they knew what the consequences would be if they were able to do it during a lunch or their free period, or if they skipped a class and what that meant. And those students had to know, okay, if I skip a class, and I remember being the one, the monitor for the the Friday detention because
Yeah.
the students who decided that it was important to them to skip class, the consequence was Friday detention. So, they have to know their choices, their decisions will have consequences, and this is the time to learn them. So,
Well, in our school, nobody got reprimanded.
mhm.
It was amazing.
So this is a wonderful idea.
Great.
I really
Thank you.
appreciate it and look forward to seeing the information and being in touch as to schedules and such. And like I said, contact
I'm
Juanetta
in touch with Juanetta.
and we'll go from there. Thank you so much. And it was really nice to meet you.
And this is
Welcome to
your
the Leland
first
Gray
year?
community.
This is my fourth year.
At Leland and
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Excellent.
But we just we started the civics curriculum last year.
I see.
Or restarted it. I mean, it's been going on for 180 some years, but
Right.
restarted it for. And so we're really excited to invite all of you to come talk to
Well,
our
if you
students.
could send us a link to finding the information directly, that would be helpful.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And Kate had one more thing to say?
Oh, no, I think I was just saying thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. It's good to see everyone
Thank
and
you very much.
Okay, thank
look
you.
forward to hearing more.
Okay.
So we're gonna move on
Thank
to
you all for your time.
Oh, thank you, Gerald. You're always wonderful with the kids and being a teacher.
That's all right.
Moving on to the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA funds.
No updates except that, I don't know if we actually got the second tranche of money, but it has been.
Yes, I think it has.
We
Yes.
did receive it
Yes.
already?
It's coming in, yeah.
It was
Yeah.
more than we expected. It's very exciting.
Yeah,
So
very
it's
exciting.
Great. That's all I
Well, then
got.
we'll move to new business. Shelley, fund collaboration
Can I
with
ask a
ARPA and
question?
WRC. Yes.
So how much are what amount of funds do we have?
Oh,
I
yeah.
am so terrible at remembering numbers. I can I'll send you an email if you want, but it's somewhere in the range of
We should make an
600,000?
Yeah.
I think I said it in the last meeting.
644, wasn't it?
644.
That was more than what
Nice
we
chunk of
expected.
change. Nice chunk of change.
And
And it comes in over a 1-year period.
so what we're planning to do, just for the public to understand again, is that taking those funds and working on the planning commission's top goals of what we need to do for our community and trying to make that work financially.
So we'll go right into you and fund collaboration with ARPA and WRC.
Yes, well, there's other funds available, which is Wyndham Regional Commission, and also historic preservation, et cetera, et cetera. So I just want to, let people know that we can take the fund money and we can add it to other funds and actually create something larger. So if you have a project, we could put 5, 6, 7 different funding supports behind it to fix, to do this, that, and other things. So it doesn't just have to start with the ARPA funds and end there, We can, I'm trying to think of the word.
So using something perhaps like a matching grant.
Yeah, matching
so
grants.
We needed money to do this project, but we needed more money that they
A
would be
matching
able to
grant, or say
tap
for
into that.
instance, just as, I'm a preservist, so historic preservation. So I did a lot of historic buildings, renovations and stuff in Saratoga Springs. So, adding, taking care of the sprinkler system, taking care of the structure, taking care of the renovations, and there's all different funding sources. So when we get to the final projects, we want to be able to pull in from every resource, and then I will make an announcement if it really, we are looking to eventually have a community, what are we calling it?
Economic consultant
An economic consultant
development.
to start on a project with the eventuality of maybe long-term being an employee. Who knows?
Did the job description
I
get
did not
finished?
finish it.
Okay.
No, we're going to collaborate a little bit more because of, just because it's a consultant position versus an employee position. You have different standards that you have to meet. They have to have their own insurances and everything else. So it's that criteria.
Great, so it's a.
And what project that we end up doing, we want them to have experience in it.
So it's ongoing.
Yes.
Ongoing, but we're
Excellent.
working on it. We're
Thank
busy.
you.
Very good.
So is there any other new business? Anything else from anyone?
Well, thankful we didn't have any floods lately.
I'll say.
Knock on wood. So I'm gonna go into correspondence, from Lance Lindgren, September 2nd, 2021, speeding on Dover Road, South Newfane. Continued speeding on Dover Road has me wondering if the town of Newfane is a lawless town. The speeding is morning, afternoon, and night. I have complained to many select boards over the years. Sometimes after the complaint, there will be police presence for a day or two over the course of a few weeks, and then nothing. The speeding isn't just on Dover Road, as evidenced by the recent article in the Commons. The select board needs to increase the policing budget substantially to enforce the speed limits throughout the town. Thank you, Lance Lindgren.
I included articles from Front Page Forum, which is more of what Lance had already publicly done.
Shall I read them all?
It's a
Yeah, I think-
concern.
Well, the concern is that it's, people are speeding, and it's us who
So
live here.
I'll just
too.
read them real quick. There's one that says, I mean no disrespect to Flatlanders. It's true, plenty of Vermonters also speed. The average rate seems to be 40 miles per hour in both directions, though many are going way faster. The speed limit is 25 in this section of road. My intention was to express my gratitude for those who are considerate enough to slow down when traveling through South Newfane. Welcome to the neighborhood. The next person writes, it's all people speeding, no question. I've lived on the Dover Road in Williamsville near the post office for 28 years, right near the speed limit feedback sign. Why is the sign there? It does let people know they are exceeding the speed limit, but if no cops is ever there, who cares? I've never seen any of the numerous speeders stopped once, but my biggest peeve this summer is the loud engines of cars, trucks, and motorcycles. Not you, Richard. I look forward to slow electric cars someday. The next person says, yes, many of the drivers speeding along Dover Road have Vermont plates. A week ago, I was pleasantly surprised to see the state police have pulled a speeder over. I just wish they could patrol Dover Road more often. I know they are short-staffed. And Katie from our select board said, hi everyone, I'm seeing lots of renewed conversations here and in Facebook groups about ongoing speeding issues on Dover Road. This is certainly something that can be revisited by the select board if someone brings it to the table. We have new members and the ability to have fresh eyes on the topic. 2 of us live on that end of town and traverse the road nearly daily. A phone call or email to our administrative assistant when at a Powling can set the ball rolling again. A primary concern is lack of funding for police hours. Our current budget is $12,500 per year, which only affords us sheriff patrol coverage for 3.5 hours per week for the entire town. When we signed the contract in June, it was for 1 year with the Windham County Sheriff's Department, who offered us 1.5 hours more per week than the state police were able to offer for the same cost. State police will still respond to emergencies and accidents as per usual. Unfortunately, our current budget is woefully low to effect actual change in average traffic speed. Budget season for 2022-23 fiscal year is rapidly approaching. I encourage you all to make yourselves heard and attend meetings when it comes up on the agenda. Be the change you wish to see in the town you love and get involved with issues that matter to you. Please join us in person or via Zoom. Warm wishes, Katie Johnson, Ashland.
That's good.
The next one is, it's all continuing speed, so we'll just keep going. This is from September 3rd, Lance Lindgren discussion. I feel your pain, bruised verdant. For many years now, I've complained to different select boards about speeding.
That was his post and the
This
email
one's
that
different.
he sent to me.
This one's different.
I think this is the one
I
that
thought it
was
was the
on
same.
front porch. I don't know if we need to be going through the front porch entry.
Yeah, I don't know.
If you'd like to see them, they're all on Front Porch
Yes.
Forum under speeding in the town of Newfane. I will say I drive Dover Road every Saturday, and I drive the speed limit most of the time, and I am constantly getting passed on all of the straightaways by people from in-state and out of state. And
Well, you know, I live on Route 30.
I have also.
You live on Route
I
30.
do, and I've also been in contact with the sheriff's department to find out where they are.
But
So,
we chose to live on Route 30.
yeah.
So we know what comes with that. We have tractor trailers that jack brake in the middle of the night coming into our town.
But we need to be mindful of the speed. We need to be mindful that it is a danger and it's a huge concern because people like to go out walking with their families. They like to sit on their porches.
Yeah.
They like to enjoy their life without having people drive so fast that it makes life unenjoyable on the road that you live on.
There's a raised hand.
Hi Patty, how are you?
You're on mute. There you go.
I am great.
Good to see you.
And I'm here as a concerned citizen, resident of Newfane Village, resident of Route 30, and having been on the traffic enforcement for the village, this is a concern, and the renewed participation on Front Porch Forum and also on Facebook, I started seeing all sorts of, throughout the whole state, of, you know, speeding throughout all these villages. And what we're concerned about is just having, if there's a stated speed limit, that's enforced or obeyed or adhered to. And it is an accident waiting to happen. My greatest interest is Walter Phelps on September 4th on Front Porch Forum had some comments. And he said there are towns in Vermont that enforce their traffic laws and receive money back from the State Judicial Bureau based on ticket revenue.
We do.
There is a complex formula that prevents towns from operating lucrative speed traps, but the law is expressly designed to put money back into the town coffers to help pay for enforcement. So my question is, has the Newfane Selectboard looked into this so it's not just coming out of the village or the town budgets, but it's actually coming out? He cites the different state, what does he say? The statutes that are referred to for this.
Well, a portion of the speeding tickets do go back to the municipalities. I'm not
Right.
quite sure.
That's only for, now, I know because you're in the village, so you do get some money back, right?
Not in the village, we don't have a contract with.
Oh, okay.
But the town
But
does.
we'd have to invite Melissa to
Yeah.
let us know what the amount is that she gets.
When there is a contract within the village of paying the Wyndham County Sheriffs, we get 40% of that ticket revenue back to the village. That was from a previous treasurer.
Yes.
Honestly, from the select board, when we signed the contract, I didn't see where that rate was stated.
In the town report, under Melissa's revenue, you do see enforcement revenue from the tickets.
Now, because
Yeah,
we're now
it's
with,
all of it is documented, whether she gets it from the tickets or from grants or whatever. So the law enforcement ticket revenue is included in her revenue report.
but
It's-
did we get anything from the state?
Yes,
We did.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
From the Judicial Bureau.
yeah, from the judicial.
If they had a speeding
I-
ticket.
I don't want to be quoted, but I know it was near $8,000.
Oh. Okay.
So the town of Newfane is getting that back from the Judicial Bureau.
Correct?
Yes.
Excellent. And so I will take that to the village trustees to see if there's a way of getting their contract, some sort of money back from the Judicial Bureau. I think the trick is that Newfane town is quite large, and the village really only has this half mile of Route 30.
Yeah.
Where people are using it as a passing lane because it's straight and clear and visible versus coming up the winding roads either north or south of the village. But I'll take that back. I'm excellent, glad to hear that the town of Newfane is getting money back from the Judicial Bureau.
Yeah.
And we're also adding speed notices, and we're
Yes.
looking at all the speed on all the roads, you know, but it costs money. So, I mean, we can only spread our money only so far.
If you want to have an impact on the budget, you need to come and express that. You know, that you want to see more added to that and
Yeah.
a little less taken from someplace else.
As Katie had mentioned in her response to
When we
the
do our
Yeah.
budget meetings, you know, what months do we do that
We
in?
start that October,
October. Okay, it's coming up.
every Monday in October.
Every Monday in October, you're invited to join us, anybody in the town of Newfane, to express how you would like to see the funds distributed, you know, that we take in as our
Yeah.
income.
It'll be on Zoom, it'll be round table and
We welcome everybody to participate.
Young and old.
it's a political process.
We'd love to hear from the young
Is there
kids though.
anything further to
Okay,
do
we
with
can
the
hear.
correspondence on speed control? Thank you, Patty, for being here tonight. I really appreciate it. Gerald?
And I was just gonna say, I know they just newly paved in Williamsville, the Williamsville side of the covered bridge through to the beginning where they do have the electronic sign there, which is very helpful. But because it's so smooth and paved, and that's where I find, you know, sometimes I'm even accelerating, but I know that sign reminds me, you know, so I would only within a couple of miles. But I'm trying to recall, is there a new 25-mile-an-hour sign right after the bridge and before you get to the electronic one? So I'll have to check that. But that would, I don't think there is.
I don't think there is either. I think it's the bridge
That would be
and then.
helpful, that as soon as people are coming out of the bridge, they just see this nice smooth road and
Yeah.
boom, and it's a straightaway, and it's not until you hit the curve of Williamsville that you hit that sign. If either the sign is a little bit further, the electronic one, or then there is a notice, thickly, you know, settled village, you know.
It's too bad it wasn't a painted entering the village speed, like what we have at
On the
the
road
Arch
itself.
Bridge,
Yeah.
speed
Well, so
25.
I think we can have this on our agenda again
Good.
at our next meeting to
Where
discuss
else?
more on the speed control
Okay.
when Jay is available, so he can let us know
Yeah.
specifically what is going on with the shortage of the paint, because the white lines and yellow lines need to
Oh,
still
okay.
get painted. The stencils in the roadway still need to get redone, so that would be helpful to know on that. And then we can have another discussion about traffic enforcement and what we're still waiting to see.
So, Madam Chair, one other thing, just as a reminder, I tend to be a little heavy-footed at times. What I do is I use my speed control. And so I set it to 30, I set it to 40, I set it to 50, so that I find because we're all busy in our lives and we get lost and we're listening to music or whatever. That's a good way for me to control myself. And if I'm slow and the person behind me wants to get around me, you know, that's their issue, and it's unfortunate sometimes they do try, and you know, but I think it just as a recommendation, try your speed control.
Cruise control? Yeah.
Cruise control, yeah.
And also, you know, it's just really important for people to remember, don't pass in the middle of a village.
Yeah.
Don't pass on a double yellow line.
Or on
It's
Depot Road.
it's so unsafe. Just to be mindful and practice safe driving so that everyone is
And
safe.
people walking with their animals, they have the right to walk alongside the road and to slow down and give them, you know, the respect, you know, that they're there walking.
So this is a conclusion of our meeting tonight, and I would like to thank everyone for being here, and we're gonna go into pay orders, so everyone stay safe and have an enjoyable evening.